Just kidding. I haven't used that timer in a long time. Happy Sunday. Happy New Year's Eve. Welcome to the annual edition of At Year's End, the spoiler-filled look back at the entire year in comics, movies, shows, news, all that good stuff. I'm very excited to hang out and talk about the best of 2023 from comics, movies, shows, news, and more. And of course, got some buddies to do it with. But before we do any of that, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get it going. As always, big shout out and thank you to BTC. Be sure to check them out at their website, follow them on social media, find them on whatnot. You can also find Justin's Comic Serve on Instagram. If you need anything clean or press, be sure to hit him up. You can find the link in the description of all my videos. Let him know you found and viewed the channel. And also, as always, a huge shout out to ABX Comics and Games, my LCS. Huge thank you to them for all the fantastic things that they do for the community and for myself. It's just a great LCS. If you're ever in the area, check them out. If you want a Facebook group to join, they've got one. The link is in the description as well. But let's get into it. As always, what is going on? Sector 2815. How's it going, Paul?
I'm doing well. So the first thing you do on the 2023 retrospective is you pull out a countdown from 2021.
Yes, it is a retrospect. Speaking of retro, we got none other than TM Nerdy's in the chat. What is up, bro? And in case you're wondering, the answer is yes, he is shaven from head to toe.
Wow. Ooh.
Yes.
Somebody lost a bet.
New year, new me.
Yes. Slick as a seal. Can't catch him.
Makes it easier to be a power bottom when you're clean shaved.
Did you change around your background on us?
No. It's the same. It's just you can see more.
Okay. I see that
it's
Turok.
Not just an outlook.
I see that Turok 1 up there, the Beast Wars. You got it going on.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of people that got it going on, let's hit that chat, say hello to some folks. We already got 12 people in here watching. I wasn't sure on how the attendance for the show would go. It's on New Year's Eve. I think that is the first time this has happened because it would only be like once every 6 years or something like that, I believe. But first time it's happened since I've had the channel. So it's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Already went and did some fireworks with the kids. Planned on doing the show. Then when Kyle got home from work, doing some more, but Monkey's already passed out. I can't hear Finn, so he's probably passed out. We'll see how that goes, but we'll be hanging out here for a little while. What is going on? Las Cruces 1971. TM Nerdy coming in with that member milestone, 17-month strong. Let's go. And what a great time to be a channel member. I got to remind everybody, tonight is the last night. You have 3 hours, 22 minutes, and some odd seconds to make your final decision to see if you want to participate in the crossover event of the year. Incredible Hulk issue 181st appearance of Wolverine will be going to a new home. So be sure to check out that video on my channel. You're going to have to search it because as of 5 seconds ago, more like 15 seconds ago, it's no longer pinned to the top of my page. So if you want it, go look for it. It's there.
Once the ball drops, so does your opportunity to win Hulk 180.
Yeah, I'll be 100% with you. I've already made my list. I'm going to look at it one time before I what is it called? Go to bed. You know, I'm not going to be up till midnight, hopefully. So if you think you're going to jump in at 12 on the dot, ain't going to work. Ain't going to work. I want to get in there at least before 10:30.
I just became back a member last night.
I seen that. But I gotta tell you, Trav, you never were not a member. Right here.
Always
right here. Yes, sir. Nocturnal Miss So, what is happening? Hope you're doing well. I see you updated your little icon there as well. Las Cruces is a ninja. That's actually been confirmed. I don't know how many people know that, but yeah, going to be lurking while eating pizza with my brother. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Mr. DJ Links is in the building throwing those channel emojis. You get access to those via membership as well. He's out partying, so he'll catch the rewind. Happy New Year, Legionnaires. Hashtag We Are Legion. Well, I hope you have a fantastic night. Please stay safe. You ain't got to tell people, but it's always nice to say there's crazy people out there. I hope to God that y'all aren't the crazy ones, but be on the lookout for them all the same. Trev, the shipping guru, what is going on? Happy New Year to you as well. Scott clocking in as not first. Not a problem either, Scott. I appreciate you being here, my friend, and I hope you have a happy new year. Dr. Von Hoot, living in the future. It's already New Year for him. He's in January, right?
Yeah, they're like 5 hours ahead of us, so it's 1:39 there, I believe.
What's
Dr.
it
Von Hoot.
like in the
He's
future?
already watching his first movie of 2024, I believe.
Yeah, are there flying cars? What's it like?
Exactly.
The countdown ended. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Psych. As New Year's go, I've already screwed this one. My back is killing me and I can barely stand. Oh my gosh. Reset, hard reset ASAP. I pray for your back and to be headed at Dr. Von Hoot Comics from Spiral Dimension. Back pain is no fun. Sounds like an artillery going off outside.
I do think it's early enough to call for a redo.
Yeah, Mulligan. I think a Molokai. I'm only half feeling sorry for myself and half laughing. There it is. Hoot, hoot, hoot. Hoot till you feel better. If you drink enough tequila, you won't feel a thing. All right, a lot of back. Adventurous Joe is in the chat. He just did like 37 elimination prize wheels and duck races over on his channel. So if you participated in his holiday giveaway extravaganza, you might want to check out his channel and check out those 37 prize winners. He had a lot of prizes over there.
It's the only time you don't want them to pick your name from the wheel.
Yeah, not at all. What is going on, Bobby? Happy New Year to you. Hope you're doing well. What is up? Eternal Comics from IG is in the chat. Jordan, hope you're doing good. Hope you and your family have had a fantastic holiday and all that good stuff. Hello, hello. Chaos and Comics, good to see you, brother. TM has it going like Stacy's mom. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Mark here. Paul here. Trav here. Happy New Year, Trev. Driving back from AR. Is that Arizona, I'm assuming?
Augmented reality.
Augmented reality. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I hope it's a short trip. Just unplug. Yeah. Kyle of Comics, what is going on? Happy New Year to you, Kyle. Hope you're doing good. You and your family. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. House of L, what is up, brother?
Ooh.
Yo, that's awesome. It's snowing. Dude, my kids kept asking, is it going to snow for Christmas? And I would tell them it's a most certainly, definitely not going to snow for Christmas. And they never gave up hope. And then the weather took all their hopes and dreams from them. What is going on, Evil Comics? Hope you're doing good. Hello, hello. Yeah, Scott was on top of that too. Good stuff, good stuff. Scrolling down. Boom, we have another channel member milestone comment. This one for 22 months strong as a Legionnaire. Bought the airline tickets last night to go get my kids next month.
Nice.
I hope 2024 is better. Yo, brother, I've been following, a lot of us have been keeping up with and hearing you talk about that as you've been going through that struggle. My heart goes out to you. I can't even imagine. And if ever something like that would happen, I hope I'm half as strong as you've been through this. And I'm so happy to hear that. I hope that trip works out exactly how it's supposed to, my friend. What is going on? Paul from ABX Comics and Games. Hope you're doing good. Paul, talk of the time. Real time. Yeah, it's always in real time around here. Shop for Comics. What is going on, brother? Good to see you. He's been rocking and rolling with the Shopverse version 2.0, putting everybody on covers now. Caught some of those. Those are pretty cool. Bobby De La Ghetto, what is happening? Hello, hello. Scrolling. Hey, it's Beckerman. I'm prepared to end the year. Where you're in the right place, you're in the right day, you're just in the wrong time zone. We can pretend like you're in real time. Good to see you, Mike. Happy New Year to you, brother. He's been one of my highlights of the year when it comes to people. Getting to know Mike really well has just been a treat. What's going on, Pops? Happy New Year, Legionnaires. Let's go. That seems so demanding. He's so demanding. Where are we going? Also, if you're a channel member and you watched any of the early content I posted for you guys today, Pops is in possession of all that. It'll be hitting Pops Attic on Instagram as early as he chooses. So if there was anything in there you're interested for, be sure to keep an eye out on Pops Attic. All right, per usual. Front end of the show always gets the most on the rewind. So, Paul, what do you got coming up this week?
This week is a Guess That Key week. We have from the Bada Boom podcast, we have Flo Dameron, and we have Mr. Dale of Suspense coming up. But before we get there, tomorrow we have a New Year's edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. We will take a look at 3 entries, actually 3.5 entries into the Beast World entry. Beast World 3, Titan 6, Titans World Tour Central City, and the backup feature in Nightwing number 109. So we'll take a look at all of those tomorrow.
What time is Guess That Kiwi dropping?
It drops at 10 o'clock. So
Guess That Key.
Guess That Key drops at 9:30 Wednesday. Sorry, 9:30 p.m. real time.
And that is a live show. Be sure to check that out. Come over there, see if you have what it takes to guess that key. There's also always fantastic prizes that Paul pulls and sends out to the fine people in the chat. So you can attempt to guess that key and as well as win some amazing stuff in the process. So yep. Bringing my nephew on the show, but not me. That's some crap. TM Nerdy, tell us what you got coming up, my man.
Well, I'm doing a top 10 TV shows of 2023. I did a little bit different this year because all of the shows in the top 10 are all new shows. Like they're not shows that had like season 2, 3, or 4 or like final season. They're all seasons that came out in 2023 and ended in 2023. So I got a top 10 list made. I just got to edit it and hopefully have it out by tomorrow night at 8:35 p.m. Eastern. Usually the night time that we do Between the Lines, but sadly we won't be doing Between the Lines tomorrow. Roscoe's hand is very sore, and we also don't have a guest. We were banking on Austin, but sadly he's out of town, so which is all right. We'll have him on in the future, but we also had him on last week too. He jumped on the Christmas special, so definitely go check that out. He did a giveaway and gave away Sav slab, so thank you, Austin Monet, for that.
I will say I've seen a teaser of what Trav has up his sleeve, and while the YouTube copyright people will hate it, the viewers
no, I uploaded it. I uploaded it just to check, and there's no issue.
You're clear?
Yeah, I'm clear.
I'm like, dude,
I just uploaded that one video and just didn't like.
Hey, if that one ain't gonna do it, none of them gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those people right there are relentless. So if they cleared that, you should be good, my dude. But
I even did one with a show from Netflix, and it did get a copyright, but it won't affect the video. They won't take it down.
It's a claim, not a strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, claims are, for those who don't know what we're talking about, there's different ways that content creators can get copyright flagged. If you get a claim, that just means the content you're creating, any kind of monetary gain you would get, is offered to the owners of the material first. If you use clips or stuff like that, a copyright strike means YouTube slapped your hand, and if you do that again, they will delete your channel, kind of thing.
Or they come along and just be like, yeah, you can't publish that video at all.
Yeah, and they'll take it down.
Yeah, I've had that with reviewing one of the worst shows of the year, and Secret Invasion.
Oh, I guess we'll get into that. So that leads me to ask, getting into this, guys, where are we going to start this? We talked about ahead of time for the best of for at years in 2023. We wanted to do like a best of list. There's plenty of negativity and there's plenty of bad stuff. And I'm sure like some of the stuff that we didn't enjoy, we'll mention along the way. But our primary focus is going to be on our top threes in numerous categories. We might as well end the year on a high note, right? So we've got a list of movies, shows, comics, news, and some pickups and stuff, collectibles, stuff like that. And we're going to look at some of our favorite stuff in those categories. And of course, you guys on the panel, don't feel shy about mentioning something that might have let you down or a miss in the category or something. We're going to just make sure this is not this isn't a smear show. That's the primary goal, because God knows I can get on a tangent.
Can we start with some honorable mentions?
We were going to start tonight with some honorable mentions. In what category were we going to do that?
Comics.
Oh, that's a good one. We can do that all night long, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. So first off, making this list, I'll be honest with you, I made my list like that. Like I didn't these are not like the I'm going to die on that hill list. These are the ones when I went to make the list, the ones that came to mind so fast. So some of them, looking at it, and I'm actually looking at it, none of these are like the most recent stuff. It's a good mix and everything. But yeah, so like this list is subject to change if you were to ask me next year what were my tops of 2023. Boom. Honorable mention Lazarus Planet. Huge letdown. Like that's super fair. And for one main reason for me, is they honey dicked me. I was so excited for Electric Blue John Kent. And it didn't even happen in Lazarus. It wasn't until later but they're still teasing us with that. They got a pop out of me this week with the
Yeah.
with the Beast Wars stuff.
Watch
Like,
DC Deep Dive tomorrow.
what? Dude, when I turned that page, like, what? Like, let's go. Yeah, dude, it was awesome. All right, team, hit us with some honorable mentions. I want to try to keep up with the chat as we go. Hope everybody in the chat feel free to participate. We're talking comics. Drop some of your top 3 or some of your letdowns or some honorable mentions. Take it away, TM.
This made an honorable mention. It did conclude in 2023, but the first issue came out in 2021. And that's Swamp Thing Green Hell. Because it concluded with its 2 issues in 2023.
With the curveball. For reasons outside of everyone's control, that was the case, but my goodness, that was such a great read. Mm-hmm. The Doug Mankey art is what did it for me.
And that's like, and this is exactly like, because Jeff Lemire used to be like a superstar over at DC. Like Jeff Johns, Scott Snyder during like the New 52 area. Mm-hmm. I want Jeff Lemire back on DC. I think he works Jeff with Lemire those characters.
Comics, really.
Yeah, he was just doing everything. He was doing stuff with Dark Horse, I believe, right? Him and Andrea Sorrentino are creating their whole universe thing together, right?
Yeah, and he's also got a lot of stuff going on with television right now that's slowing all of it down.
Right. Yeah.
Because he has a lot of comics. I forget what other comics he has out right now, but he still has that Black Hammer universe.
Yeah, and the Fish Fly stuff. Happy New Year to you as well, Circumstances. Roscoe, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Paul, do you have an honorable mention you want to throw out there?
I do. It's actually an honorable mention, but it's also one of my kind of misses as well. And that is the Justice Society of America. It is one of my favorite groups, but it's one of my misses because of the time. It loses its momentum to keep me interested. Although when I see an issue, I enjoy it, but I don't enjoy it as much, I don't think, if it had been coming out on a regular basis. So, Jeff Johns is just, well, we'll talk more about Jeff Johns later, I'm sure, but his love for the Golden Age characters, it comes through whenever he writes those things. So, and he's the only person, I think I've said this here, he's the only person who could possibly, he's basically rewriting almost the entire Golden Age of the DC universe.
Single-handedly,
yeah,
which is absolutely impressive. So for first off, we got Dr. Von Hoot dropping his top 3 comics of the year. I can't say if these are in any specific order or not, but I assume they are. He's got Transformers at number 1. Like the reviving of that was just absolutely massive. I think it was like the number 1 selling kickoff of the year. He has Beneath the Trees at number 2 and Superman at number 3. So for honorable mention for me, and this one started years ago, but it just finished last week. Honorable mention has to go out. Like it has to be mentioned. It didn't make my top 3, but Action Comics, it would just finish an era. Like this, we have just carved out an era for this book's existence. And like over 80 years of existing, Philip Kennedy Johnson just cemented himself in the Hall of Fame. Like just from just writing a passionate book, you know what I mean? Like from his start with him and John before he leaves for Warworld to watching what happens in his absence to coming back and forming a bigger family than before and solidifying all those classic Superman traditions and values and stuff that prove what Kingdom Come taught us years ago, that they are timeless, that they fit in any era, in any society. And then the way that he sended it off, it was beautiful. It's absolutely an epic run on Action Comics. Had to make the honorable mention. Phil Trial said, I need to seek out his other stuff, Mike, and new follower for sure. Good stuff, whoever that is, I guess. Mm-hmm. Also happy with all the new Superman stories. Yeah, dude, it was a massive year for Superman fans. We got a top 3 list right here. We have Chroma, Tenement, and Danger Street from Evil's Comics. Only one on there that I'm familiar with would be Danger Street. I have not read the other ones. No modern comic creator handled the golden age characters better or with more reverence than Roy Thomas at Marvel or DC. I would.
And he continues that. He puts out a like I think it's 6 or 8 times a year. He does a magazine called Alter Ego, which is basically devoted to the golden age of comics. Um, and it's put out by the Tomorrow Group that does a whole bunch of other stuff as well. But yeah, I mean, he the stuff he did with All Star
Squadron.
Squadron and you know Young All Stars, all that stuff that he did. He absolutely has a great love for them.
Lady Fantastic's dropping her honorable mentions. For her, she says Santos Sisters, another one that I'm not familiar with. Not familiar. Got some honorable mentions from Evil's Comics. What is that? Hexware, Lovesick, Gotham City Year One. That was a good one. Gotham City Year One with Slam Bradley. That was super good. Yeah. So there's definitely could go on and on with honorable mentions for certain. There are some that I would mention that were already mentioned in some of those lists, but moving to our list. Now I do have these in order that I would actually categorize these three. These are not just in any unspecific order. So TM, what do you got for number 3 in your comics?
Number 3 in my comics. Let's go. Let's see.
I'm assuming that was maybe DVH. You're talking about Hulk with I'm assuming you're talking with Philip Kennedy Johnson and not the Donny Cates and Ryan Otley, but maybe
Void Rivals would be another honorable mention for me.
I'm gonna have to say Peacemaker tries hard.
Kyle Stark's 6-issue miniseries, was it, or 7?
Yeah, I absolutely love that series. Like, and if you're a fan of the TV show, you're going to be a fan of this comic because I think they pulled most inspiration from that. But going back and reading older stuff from the 80s where Peacemaker was there, that Peacemaker actually acted a lot like the TV show Peacemaker. So they're pulling from that. James Gunn pulled from that because he's a huge comics fan in the 80s. But I love Peacemaker Tries Hard. It wasn't very serious, but had like a kind of a serious tone to it. And the art was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it was like a serious world we lived in with a main character that it's impossible to take serious, which that's what made the balance so great. Paul, what do you got at number 3 on your list?
Probably not surprising. I actually have Green Lantern at number 3. Jeremy Adams doing the Lord's work the same way he did on Flash, and for if you loved or didn't love Night Terrors, the Green Lantern issues of Night Terrors were, I mean, it was hilarious in some ways too. He was like he was chasing the guy.
Yeah, he was chasing the terrors.
Why do you go after a guy who basically who knows no fear? How are you gonna do that? But Jeremy Adams has set up he set up a mystery with, why is the Earth quarantined? What's going on with Hal's ring? What's going on with Sinestro? He's basically doing all of these great things, with Green Lantern. And the fact that there is a Hal Jordan centric Green Lantern issue or title that hasn't been around for a little while too is another reason why it's on my top 3 list.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one. I'm having a blast with it. What a twist with the way that last issue ended as well. Mm-hmm. Wow. Lady F says her top of the year is actually a DC book. Didn't expect that. And it was Wonder Woman Historia by a long shot, she says. That's one that I haven't dove into, but it's just nothing but high praise from that book.
It was really good, and it's one of those, like, it's pretty too. It's not just good, it's pretty.
That's why I love the Prestige stuff. It really gives those exceptional artists room to be exceptional. Number 3 for me is none other than a book that has already been mentioned, and I've already mentioned the writer when I was praising him for what he did with Action Comics, but Philip Kennedy Johnson single-handedly brought Hulk right back. We had if y'all follow the channel, y'all know when as soon as they announced Donny Cates, I called it. I'm like, this is exactly what's going to happen to this book, and it sure as crap did, and it was absolutely terrible. It ruined my day every week that it came out. I'm like, here's this book again. But having Philip Kennedy Johnson on the title, bringing it back to like this Age of Monsters, this horror tone and vibes. It's a proper follow-up to Immortal Hulk. Having Nick Klein on the art is just monstrously good. The stories are fun. It's paced well. It's just it's an excitement to see it coming out every single week, and I can't wait for the next issue. It absolutely earned its spot as number 3 on my list. Trev's got World's Finest Superman Space Age. I think Space Age was a crisscross year one as well, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah. It started in
Mark
2022,
Russell,
but it ended this year. So,
already. Oh
and
my God, that was so good.
look for the sequel with Batman.
So I've looked, and I was thinking, so Superman Space Age issue 1 as well as Riddler One Bad Day were both 2022 books, and that Superman Space Age number 1 just it hit on a whole different level. It was insane. All right, Tim, what do you got at number 2 on your list?
I'm gonna have to go with Green Arrow. I absolutely loved Green Arrow. Like love what it's setting up next too, because like it had a full story arc. The arc of that story is done, and it was keeping what keeps the family separated, and it just so happened to be one of Green Arrow's like most notable villains. So I absolutely love that, but also a little bit of Amanda Waller was sprinkled in on that, and Amanda Waller will be showing up in the future. But also I want to put this as my number 2 is because there's never a longevity of Green Arrow books. And I absolutely love the fact that this is an ongoing, this isn't like a mini 6-issue mini in that. So I just want to keep the momentum going and for Green Arrow to keep coming out. Because like I was on a stream where we were showing Comicx off, and I was the only one who picked up Green Arrow. I was like, oh, that's sad.
It's a solid title. That dude again, like there's something about these issue 7s are dropping. We get through that first miniseries. You could tell they were writing them with this uncertainty about how long it'll go. So they're writing just like this kind of play it safe 6-issue thing that's still fun. But issue 7 of Green Arrow just sent it to the moon. Sent it to the moon. I was so excited. I can't believe they're I wonder if they're going to commit to the events of number 6 that Ollie was checking on in number 7 with a potential death that occurs. If they commit to that, like talk about ripping the Band-Aid off and then stabbing you right in the wound.
Right.
You know, right when he gets back, he's got to go. Yeah, I'm with Mike. Everything from Dawn of DC has been solid. Paul, what do you got at number 2 for your list?
We've already mentioned it, but I had Action Comics. Philip Kennedy Johnson. I think that when people will talk about Action Comics, I think when they say the word War World, it will mean something like whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and you'll be able to identify just by the type, just by the title. I wasn't really sure I was going to do it, but then when I read the annual and how the annual ended, it was like, you know what, he gets Superman. He gets who Superman is. He gets what Superman means, which is important and lots of people can write Superman, but you have to get what Superman means. What's the essence of Superman? And Philip Kennedy Johnson really got to the essence of who Superman is.
I can only hope and pray that as we move forward into a new era for DC Comics media with the DCU and James Gunn, how we already know that he's sourcing from creators. We know that there's a couple of creators he already said that he's speaking with and are working with on projects and stuff like that. Like if he does, like I know it's probably way too late in the game, but if he didn't reach out to PKJ for Legacy, I mean, like knowing what we know now kind of thing, if James is even aware kind of thing, because it's so new, you know what I mean, versus looking back on existing successful projects. But we know we were sourcing All-Star, which is a good place. But yeah, Kingdom Come, All-Star, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, War World, all these things are now in the Hall of Heroes when it comes to Superman. That's really cool. So number 2 for me is one that I believe it started in 22, ended in 2023. Didn't make number 1. It was close, but it's Daniel Warren Johnson's Do a Powerbomb. Phenomenal book. For a lot of people, it's their favorite Daniel Warren Johnson title. For me, that's Murder Falcon. I kind of have this thing like where I believe like whichever one you might have read first kind of elevates it to number 1 because they both deliver on the emotional beats, the shock value, the page-turning moments that put you back like you want to talk about this book with people, but you'd rather tell them to go read it than tell them about it. They need to experience it. It was one of those books, and it just hits on like the action level plus the emotional beats. It's just there. It's just there.
That's a good one. I love that as well. And it was, and you could enjoy it whether you were a science fiction guy or a wrestling guy. You could enjoy it on lots of different levels too. So
Yeah.
All right, TM, number one comic of the year for TM Nerdy.
It's no surprise that it's Stargirl, The Lost Children.
Hell yeah! Tell us what you liked about it.
only because there
Absolutely.
wasn't an Animal Man comic out last year.
Yeah, that too. And it would have been Animal Man. That's why Swamp Thing made my honorable mention, because there was like mention of Animal Man and then Animal Woman in it. So, I absolutely love like how you're bringing back a character like Stargirl. She hasn't been like a main staple in anything for a while, and it still has the heart and joy from Stargirl. Plus, coming off the TV show, her teaming up with what was it, Oliver Queen's sister. Was it sister or daughter? I keep forgetting if
that was a sister, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure, but like how young she was, I was like, could be
DC definitely.
So I absolutely love the fact that they brought those two characters back. They had the heart of her, the willingness of the Red Archer, and I loved how Jeff Johns revamped the Golden Age. That's why I like the second arc of Justice Society of America the most over the first arc, is because we get to kind of grow with these new characters that they presented us with, and also kind of reshaping the DC universe as we see it with certain characters showing up throughout the DC universe now. Jeff Johns single-handedly did that with showing up with like Jay Garrick's The Flash. You have what's her name?
Judy.
Yep.
Judy Garrick, yeah. So I absolutely loved Stargirl: The Lost Children. It's been a while. I should have reread it because I had to check because it felt like it came out 2022.
With the Jeff John delays, yeah, it could feel like 2012.
Well, that's the thing. This title was on time. So
yeah, but you hear Jeff John in your brain immediately, like, oh yeah, this book took 5 years to release. Despite in six issues, 6 months.
Think about it too. Justice Society of America and Stargirl came out at the same time, and we're on like issue 7 for Justice Society. Yeah. and Stargirl had 6 issues.
Like the interior story of Justice Society of America has tied into the other stuff on shelves that week. It's not like they make it look like it was meant to release at this rate. If you were to, like, if it would have released on time, they would have been talking about Gotham War 6 months before the Gotham War happened. So it's kind of an unfortunately weird thing. I believe Starhenge was last year, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. But that's another one that is, go for the story, but stay for the art.
Yeah, that whole story was game changer. That's one of like the coolest miniseries I've ever read in my life. I'm ready for more of it. Paul, what do you have for your top comic book of the year?
Okay, again, may not be, well, it may be a surprise, but I am going to go with Alan Scott, Green Lantern. Because one, Golden Age has me hooked. Green Lantern has me hooked. Tim Sheridan is writing things that have never been written before in a comic book that make sense to the character. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of new stuff and stuff that maybe some people won't enjoy, but I'm really enjoying it, and it makes sense for the entire for the character of Alan Scott and what his life has been, and the relationships that he has with his children and all these other different things. It totally makes sense, and again, he's part of the new Golden Age. So yeah, I'm really enjoying Alan Scott. Alan Scott, Green Lantern.
Right there. And if you stop and really think about it, this is a monumentous task that Tim Sheridan has undertaken. Alan Scott has kind of been reimagined since the birth of the New 52, but not till this series right here that's halfway through has anybody actually sat down to interpret that into the main DC universe, because New 52 came and went. And since then, he's been brought back. The JSA were missing. They came back in Doomsday Clock. They touched on it in this in that little one shot that they did when he came and met up with Jade and Obsidian. But to actually look back on the history of this character for the first time and kind of put the puzzle pieces together into context and into continuity without being preachy, heavy-handed, or anything like that, and just delivering a meaningful story that is true to the history and lore of the character, I would have said it's impossible.
Right.
I would have said it's impossible.
And true to the history of not
Of the
just to the
character.
character, but this is what happened in history. This is what happened to people.
It's absolutely, absolutely mind-boggling how well he's doing this book. Absolutely. The starring as deluxe edition hardback came out in 20. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. All right. So number one for me, and this one might come as a surprise to some, might not to others, but 2023 was a year that I transported myself to a whole nother world, a Miller world, a world so vast and so full of stories that are mind-bogglingly amazing, vast, rich characters, nonstop action, just surprises around every corner. And I went 10 toes deep in the Miller world. I back read as much as I could. I've spent a couple of months just binging. I have a pile of trade paperbacks this tall from an entire universe that I'd never been to before, and I found my happy place with it. I'm still going through it. I'm in this current one, Reborn, right now, but I did this all because of what I was introduced to in Nemesis, which almost made this list, but something took its place, something bigger. So what's number one on my list was Mark Miller's Big Game. It was amazing. It was the culmination of his life's work with all of his creator-owned properties. They were brought together for the first time in a story that was so vast, so action-packed that I would go to the shop and we would be talking about deaths that occurred in it and trying to justify how we can ever get away to get these people back, this or that. And it was so fun. It was so enjoyable, so much so that issue 5, the final issue was my single issue comic book read of the year. When you have this whole in-game-esque moment where the Magic Order comes in and brings to life the Jupiter Legacy characters, which was a huge plot twist, which Miller just does in his books. You get this huge twist in everything, and they bring it like it was epic in scale and scope. It was the guy from the Wanted movie versus the people from Jupiter's Legacy and everyone in between. It was absolutely amazing. Loved every minute of it, and I cannot wait to see what they do next. Miller announced that he moved to Dark Horse Comics, which is, that's over into the news section. We'll talk about that later, but Big Game for me, hands down. That was the most, I was anticipating it, running to read it, and couldn't wait to talk about it. Every single issue. You had me at the guy from the Wanted movie. Yeah, my dude, if you've seen the Wanted movie, Wesley, the main guy, he's the main bad guy. He is the main bad guy.
Yep.
Yeah, it is so good, dude. It is so good. Yeah. All right, so that's our top 3 comics for 2023 with some honorable mentions in there. All right, TM, where are we going from here?
Let's go movies.
All right, hit us with some honorable mentions or some misses or whatever. Hit us with a couple, and then we'll move in to our top 3.
Miss. I didn't have an honorable mention for movies, but I think of one right quick. I
can hit you with one for me. A miss for me was The Flash. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It had its ups, it had its downs, but the biggest miss for me was the expectation versus the reality, which I'm partially to blame for that. There's a huge marketing campaign that hyped it up. It moved its release date forward. They screened it at film festivals like months ahead of time. It had all these praises from reviewers and just regular watchers and everything. And then you go and you see it and you're like, this isn't lining up. And the biggest miss, I blame James Gunn, who told us out of his own mouth with his face in front of us that this will be the movie that resets the DCU. And then that's not what they did, not by a mile. So the expectations versus the reality were way off, but there was so much about it that I absolutely did love. The main thing being not only did we see Christopher Reeve again, but we saw Nick Cage, Superman, fighting the Thanagarian snare monster for the first time in history. That was peak, but
yeah. That was my miss as well. Again, I also did like the movie, but The miss for me, the main miss for me was that 90% of the special effects look like they were done on a Commodore 64. You
Maybe
know,
they were.
and for the seemingly billions of dollars that they spent on this movie, they should have been a lot better.
I got one. It's an honorable mention, not a miss, because I really enjoyed it, but it's not enough to make it into my top three. But Tetris, starring Taron Egerton.
I remember that dropped. You were
I
recommending.
did a review on that as well, because it was something nobody was talking about, and how it's definitely a thriller. It's one of those documentaries, but like theatrical documentaries, and that it's like a retelling of the story. And I absolutely loved the story. I had no idea how much trouble or how many people could have died to bring us Tetris. So I was
This is
on
the
the edge of
video
my seat.
game, right?
Yeah, this is a video game Tetris.
Like I didn't know if you were talking about bringing us the blueprints to the Death Star or bringing us Tetris. Like a lot of good people died to get these.
And I know one person that actually watched it and loved it too is Dr. Von Hoot.
Mm-hmm.
House of L's got a top 3: Blue Beetle, The Blackening, and Cocaine Bear. Scott came in with the top 3 of Sound of Freedom. Fantastic movie. Like that was it's hard to get through, but man, Nefarious and The Flash. Mad Spidey's got a Happy New Year Legends. What is going on, Spidey? Enjoy 2024. I'll meet you there.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
my honorable mention is actually the character that is just to the right of TM Nerdy. Mine was Blue Beetle was my honorable mention. I thought it it was fun for me, and that's really all that I can ask for. I enjoyed myself watching do it. There were some some things that were some things for longtime DC enthusiast as well. But it was just to me it was a fun movie, and I thought George Lopez was hysterical. And I kind of wish that supposedly he's still going to be around, according to James Gunn. He's one of the people that'll make it, into
I hope so.
the new
I really
DCU.
hope so.
But yeah, I enjoyed Blue Beetle. It didn't take $500 million to make, but it didn't need to either. For what it was supposed to do, it was I really enjoyed it.
And that's why it's called out. Pops through a top 3 up. Granted, 2 of these did not release. One of them didn't even release last year. He's got Eternals, The Marvels, and Thor 3 as his misses. And fun fact, if you take each of those Blu-rays and put them on a shelf next to each other, your house will spontaneously burn down.
Really?
Yeah, so be careful out there. Phil's Treehouse has Asteroid City. They cloned Tyrone. They cloned Tyrone is the Netflix film. I haven't seen that one yet. What did I do? Blue Beetle would be my number 4. Blue Beetle is definitely my honorable mention. I had a blast with it. It was so fun. But I'm sick of a Flash on that one. Moving into our top 3, though. Tim, what do you got at number 3?
I have a horror movie, and I'm sad that we're not going to go anywhere further with this series than what they've set up in the 2022 movie and then the Scream 6 movie. But I'm Scream 6. I absolutely loved it. I loved the one previous to this, but I just recently watched them during Halloween. I watched I guess you can call it 5 and 6 together, and 6 was better than 5 in my opinion. It's just sad that Jenna Ortega, I forget the other lead actress's name, and the director have all exited the film franchise. So we won't get what we have set up. But I absolutely love Scream 6 and recommend it to everybody.
One of them was fired, from my understanding, and then Jenna quit as a result of her being fired. And then the director's like, I can't do the movie without my character, so I got to go.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, they are pushing forward with Scream 7. They're just back at the drawing board with it.
And I hate that, because what they set up in 5 and how they utilize 6, like they've done stuff that they have never done in 6, and I've been a fan of the franchise for years.
Don't put the Marvels next to it.
Don't put the Marvels next to it, my guy.
That's like having 4 out of the 5 stones for the Infinity Gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. Paul, what do you got at number 3 on your list?
Well, I will tell you, I have not seen Oppenheimer, although I think I probably would enjoy it. But my number 3 is Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I
Super
thoroughly
good
enjoy.
movie.
I have not been, historically over the years, I have not been a big Transformer guy. I would go see the movies, but Transformers: Rise of the Beast, I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, it was like a breath of fresh air into the franchise, and that one hits
Mhm.
my honorable mention list as well. There's a lot. I think this was like probably the most packed year for movies, especially like blockbuster attempt flicks. Oppenheimer makes my honorable mentions. I think it's one of the best movies of the years, like as a technical filmmaking
Mhm.
and everything. And but number 3 on my list, and this is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, and I'm okay with that. It is Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. When I tell y'all I enjoyed this movie, I absolutely enjoyed this movie. Loved it from start to finish. Did it have faults? Plenty. Did it take away from my enjoyment of it? Absolutely not. I'm a sucker for Aquaman. In comics, it doesn't matter how campy or weird you make them. I'm going in, diving in the deep end. The movie, like the first one, is still one of my favorite comic book movies ever made, and this one I thought was a good sequel to it. And I can't wait to watch it again. And I do, after saying that, I do want to remind people this isn't the top 3 of what what I would nominate for an Oscar. It's just top 3, just top 3. Like that's as far as it's the top 3. Top 3, what? Who knows? But that makes
Also,
the top 3 when I was writing it.
I do want to point out, without spoiling anything for anybody that hasn't seen Aquaman 2, but I love, like, it's no surprise, there's no spoiler that they cut some parts of Amber Heard out, but I love the fact that they left the parts where she's a hero in, just to like get at them a little bit more and be like, because like, yeah,
There was a lot of Amber Heard in the movie.
there was, but there's a lot cut out, and then she was the parts that they left in, she was like I can't say it without ruining it or spoiling
That's
it.
fun.
Guys,
This is a spoiler show.
spoilers, guys, for Aquaman 2. They made her in the hero. Every time she shows up, she's either the martyr or saving Aquaman's ass.
Yeah, kind of like in the first movie, if you remember. Like in the first movie, like she was like Aquaman was a fish out of water when in every scene he was in. You know, he's being introduced to this new world, and she's the one guiding him through it. It was man, I just had a blast with it. Black Manta was insanely awesome in it.
I don't know.
Orm steals the show. Like
Yeah, I do agree with that, but
awesome.
I think they didn't utilize Black Manta well again this one. Like he was another side character, and it was the same movie redone in a way with Black Manta and that. And I also Black Manta's partner in crime, Stingray. They don't even like they cut out. They must have cut out tons of like who she was, because nobody knew who she was until they looked her up. And like you're supposed to care. Well, I know, but they didn't say it. Like, are we supposed to know that it is? But like, without even saying her name or anything.
Watch like Batman v Superman, do you know who Mercy Graves is outside of that movie? Well, yeah, if you read the comics, but if you're just watching the movie, she's just Lex Luthor's assistant. Just like in this, if you read the comics, you know who Stingray is. But if you watch the movie, you just know that Stingray's his lieutenant, his next in command. That's all you're supposed to know. I thought they did good with it. It was definitely like it looked edited for time, like a lot of movies will be on television, where they're just trying to make sure they get it in a shorter time span, kind of thing. But man, it was dope. It was dope. We got a number 1 from Jordan. He says The Covenant with Jake Gyllenhaal. Let's see. Aggressively Relaxing says Aquaman 2 deserves all the Oscars. It was incredible. Amber Heard was awesome. Give me a third one. Yeah, I don't agree with the Oscars part, but I agree with 100% of the rest of it. Transformers: Rise of the Beast was both a hit and a miss. Stingray was on a movie. Yes. Aquaman 2 got a lot of people ticked off because Amber Heard was still in it. Like quite a lot.
Quite a lot.
Like quite a lot. Yeah. No. All right, number 2 on your list, TM Nerdy. What do you got for films?
For me, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go with Barbie.
Why'd you say it like that? That's a solid pick, dude. It was a fantastic movie.
Well, I know, but a lot of people get grief from it. a little bit, but I absolutely loved it. It's not what like it's hard to say. Like it's a movie about Barbie, but to explain anything else about it, it's kind of hard because it has double meanings, and it's just it's such a fun, hilarious movie. Like it's yes, it's a movie about Barbie, but it's literally a movie making fun of Mattel and making fun of Barbie at the same time, as well as making fun of the whole company and how corporations work, and that it's there's a lot of double meanings to the movie.
It's very self-aware.
Yeah, it's very self-aware, and it's so freaking hilarious. Like every step of the way, you're either like picking up something or giggling at something, and I thought it was just freaking fantastic.
Paul, what you got at number 2?
Well, if you thought you were going to get grief with number 3, my number 2 actually was Aquaman 2. You know, he talks to fish, and so does his son. Deal with it.
Deal with it. It was so good. Like, it was so good. And for context, like if you go look up the critic ratings for it, like everyone looks at Rotten Tomatoes, fair enough. I mean, that's the one people know. It's got like 30 something on Rotten Tomatoes, but it has like an 80% fan rating on there. If you go look it up on IMDb or anywhere else, it's ridiculously higher than Rotten Tomatoes. Like it's getting tons of positive feedback. It's making a huge splash internationally. It just surpassed, like it's on track to surpass the Marvels, to surpass Black Adam. Like it's tracking for longevity. It's not going to make all this money back, this and that, but it's not the flop that people were thinking it was going to be either. Like my man Jason,
I hope it makes money, because then the next thing, if like, because I know Warner Brothers is going through some financial issues, and if this flops, like you'd have like all of these DC movies that have flopped, and then with Superman Legacy coming, if that does not do good, I don't see any future of James Gunn going forward.
Bro, Superman Legacy doesn't land and deliver, like it's dead on arrival. The whole thing. There's no point in making another one.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Warner Brothers has already been like in talks with, I want to say Paramount.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Paul, what do you got at number 2, man?
That was Aquaman 2 was my number 2.
So you got Barbie, you got Aquaman. For me, number 2 is what I believe was probably the best technical film made of the year. Not just my second favorite. This is, if I had to pick like what was the best movie of the year, it would be this one. But it's number 2 is my personal best, and that's none other than Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. MI7, like somehow or another, this psychopathic Scientologist has gone clear, and he makes flawless movies. This guy sacrificed his own mind and his family to entertain us, and it's working. He's making movies like Maverick still and Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. This film just had me just shot from start to finish. Like it's beautifully shot. The sets are amazing. The dialogue is amazing. Getting new characters in there is amazing. It hit on the emotional beat with the death of a major character that I absolutely have cherished over the last 3 films. The ending of it just blows your mind. The fact that they always have this one big stunt that they market the movie on, that yes, Tom Cruise really does these stunts. Yes, he really did a halo jump in Fallout from 28,000 feet in the air. Yes, he really rode on the side of an airplane in the opening scene to Rogue One. Yes, he really drove a dirt bike off of a cliff 6 times in one day to get a parachute shot for us. Yes, they really built a train out of scratch to drive it off a cliff. This is like the filmmaking that we miss when we say so much CGI, the CGI this, why don't they that? This is the movie that you want, that you ask for, that at least the way a movie is meant to be made, and they're still doing it 10 out of 10. Flawless movie.
He broke his leg, I think, in the previous Mission Impossible movie, jumping from the one building to the next building. Right? I think he broke his leg then. Hey, Finn.
Paul, say hey.
Hey.
Finn, what was your favorite movie this year that we saw? Your very favoriteest movie we saw?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. What was one that you liked a lot? You want me to name some of them? All right, we saw the new Godzilla. We saw the new Aquaman. We saw that cartoon Spider-Man movie. We saw Transformers. We saw a bunch of stuff.
It was the remake of the very first Godzilla.
Godzilla -1.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Kid knows his stuff.
Kid knows his stuff. Extraction 2 is definitely on my honorable mention. Tyler Rake is one of my favorite new action stars, and the way that those are shot, they're amazing. That I actually put up a post at the end of the summer for like the best of the summer. That was the best streaming film, original streaming film of the year right there, with Rebel Moon on the short list, but Extraction 2 was great. All right, Tim, we're on to our number one movie pick of the year. What do you got?
I got two number ones.
All right, Tim, we're on your number one and your number one top pick movie of the year. What you got?
Well, of course, coming in at number one is Rise of the Beast. I absolutely love the fact that this finally was made into a movie and that it wasn't made terribly. It was made good. The only issues that I had with it was there wasn't enough of the Maximals and there was no Decepticons. So I'm hoping, since this movie did do good, that we will be getting, well, of course, I don't think I have to say that anymore. We have tons of Transformers movies, so I'm damn sure we're going to get another one. So I absolutely loved this. They presented us with a new story with Bumblebee kind of setting up a new universe, and this being the universe that we're going forth with. I'm just so ecstatic for that movie. And then my other number one movie is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. This is why I had such faith in James Gunn. He was able to close this off perfectly. Also, like, he didn't know what was going to get done with Nebula. Like, his story was going to be told, but some of the characters that he had were changed around a little bit. Gamora wasn't supposed to die. So he had to rewrite that and change that from the story arc that he had. And then also with Star-Lord, everybody hating on Star-Lord due to Infinity War. Everybody hated him going into Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Well, actually, the Christmas special mostly. But he was able to tell this story and close off this character. Also, one of Bradley Cooper's best performances, and he just did a voice. That's it. He played a raccoon. And we pretty much followed a raccoon. That was a story about, like, and we cared about animals that weren't even there. CGI animals we cried for. So top it off to James Gunn. You guys say all you want about James Gunn and how you're worried about him adding this character, that character, the Superman legacy. Just go look at all of the other great work he's done, including Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Solid. Guardians would have made my honorable mention list. Like, I thought about it. I'm like, I enjoyed watching it. I haven't thought to turn it back on one time. I don't know if it's just because I don't want it. Like, it's kind of tough watching the animal stuff, but it was really good.
Also, if you guys like that, not the animals, cruelty and stuff. No, but when I was watching that, I got the vibes, and most people know, like, if they've read the story of, like, We 3 by Grant Morrison. It was only like a three book series, and I got the vibe of that whenever I was watching that movie.
Nice. All right, Paul, what is your number one or your number ones?
I didn't cheat, and I only picked one. My number one was Godzilla -1. It is not only the best Godzilla movie that I've ever seen, it is one of the best movies I've ever seen. It is, the fact that Godzilla is in it and it is a monster movie is secondary to everything else that happens in the movie. I was never a huge Godzilla fan, but this is a movie that when it comes out on physical media, I will actually be getting it on physical media. So, yeah, I mean, if you weren't crying by the end of Godzilla -1, then a little part of you is dead inside.
Solid choice, Paul. For number one for me, curveball, Godzilla -1. Like, no. Is there another one? Like, like everyone was anticipating it and nobody was ready for it. We all thought, like, this is going to be great. Nope. It was beyond great. They managed to transcend their genre. Like, it was insane. Beautifully shot, beautifully acted, emotional as hell. I like this to, like, tell people this was my wife's first time going to the theater to see a movie that was dubbed or that was subtitled that she'd be reading, and she still was crying at the end of it. Like, it was absolutely amazing. It was so good that if they never make a follow-up to it, I will be perfectly happy. And if they ever do, I'll be worried that they'll be able to reach the heights that this one did. Like, it was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I have to learn from Finn, I guess, because there's 3 people. I didn't watch Godzilla Minus One; didn't come to my theater, so I wasn't able to watch it.
Oh man, you're in for a treat.
Yeah. I don't think they've announced yet when it's coming.
Now the Toho stuff takes a little while. Like Shin Godzilla took a while. It will, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 of you that are correct. TM needs a learn from Finn. Oh man. But yeah, that's the top 3 movies from us. All right, moving over to television shows. This was also a pretty solid year for the little screens. And
Mm-hmm.
do you guys have any honorable mentions or ones that you might want to just pay homage to that are not on your top 3 list?
I definitely want to. It's not on my list, but it ended pretty good. And it's fully out now. But What If Season 2 was fantastic. I love the art style and that, and the story wise. I absolutely love the finishing arc of it. They're all solo stories, but of course bringing it all together at the end. But you don't even see it coming, so it feels like it's its own separate episode. Another one is Reacher. Reacher just came on to season 2, and it's been freaking fantastic. So those are my honorable mentions.
Paul, you got any honorables?
I have one honorable mention. My honorable mention is Ahsoka from Disney Plus. It feels as though, I mean, other than the first season of The Mandalorian, which I thought was really good, I thought Ahsoka so far has been the strongest Star Wars series that they've done so far. And it did fan service, it did all the good stuff, and it didn't weaken the fact, that they were just that it didn't seem as though they did fan service just for fan service. There were things that needed to be resolved between Anakin and Ahsoka, and they brought them in. And having Dave Filoni now in a much higher position within a Lucasfilm, I think is just going to bode well. I think for hopefully the stuff coming forward. So
nice. Phil Treehouse has Silo. That's one that I've been heavily recommended, and one that I was recommended because going back to the Mission Impossible talk, losing Rebecca Ferguson's character of Elsa Faust in the Mission Impossible franchise was a massive bummer to me. I absolutely love that character. She's one of the most dynamic, interesting, badass characters in the franchise, and we saw the death of that character this year. And Austin LeMay told me to check out Silo on Apple TV, but I did not have Apple TV. But guess what?
now you do.
All I will say is I know a few people. I think who was the other one? I know Phil was one of them, but it'll make you want to go read the books.
What, Silo books?
Yeah, it'll make you want to go read them.
Appreciate it.
It's a fantastic series.
So honorable mention for me would definitely be Ahsoka. It as you can see, I got Anakin over here hanging out with me. Got Thrawn and Ahsoka down there with TM.
Just noticed James Gunn.
Oh yeah, he's up there with Paul. Figured it'd be a good place for him. Watching over all of this.
DVH makes a good. If I did 2 honorable mentions like Travis did, I would have put Last of Us on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paul is like a good boy. He doesn't cheat.
The Last of Us is on the short list too. That's one that I wrestled with that did not make the top 3 lists because other ones did. But yeah, there's the ones that we mentioned definitely were honorable mentions for me as well. There's a lot of good shows, but The Last of Us and Ahsoka were definitely at the top of those conversations. TM, what's coming in at number 3 on your television for 2023 list?
Number 3 would be Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I haven't read the comics, but I did enjoy the movie that came out in the late 2000s, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. They upped the animation and like made it into more of an anime type of style, considering it was released in Japan first with anime actors. Then they they got all of the actors from Scott Pilgrim versus the World to come back and voice their characters. Not only that, it fleshes out the characters so much more than you didn't realize you wanted. Like, I got to know the 7 Evil X's a little bit more, and I'm so happy I got to. It also gave some minor characters like Knives Chow and Young Neil some story arcs and a little bit of a story. Of course, if you guys know, it does kind of start the same way the movie starts, but changes after the very first episode. As the title states, Scott Pilgrim takes off, and you are following Ramona Flowers.
A tough one to say when you're Canadian, ain't it?
Yeah.
Ramona. I got you. Yeah, that's one that I was recommended by a couple of people. You were the first one to reach out to me and say, yo, I don't know if you enjoy Scott Pilgrim movie, but if you do, you got to check this out.
Absolutely. It was so enjoyable. I know a lot of people, it's getting a lot of flack being like, oh, it's too woke. You're following a woman. Who cares? It was such a great story, and you had such a great story.
If they released if this exact movie that exists of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World came out this year, it would catch that flack too. But because it came out before the whole the whole environment of this year, it was just an indie film.
Yeah, I just loved it. You had Chris Evans come back. You had Audrey Plaza come back. You had
Superman come back.
Yeah, you had Brandon Routh come back and stuff.
Michael
They
Cena?
had
Brie Larson,
Michael Cena, Brie Larson.
The whole crew.
All of them came back.
That's awesome. Paul, what do you got clocking in at number 3?
At number 3, and I know Aggressively Relaxing will back me up on this. I'm going to go with Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Nice.
Season number 2. I have said more than once on this very show that one of the most inventive and well-written shows is Star Trek Strange New Worlds. They have really brought back the essence of Star Trek. If it goes back to the original series in some ways, in that obviously you're on the Star Trek before Captain Kirk, but Kirk is there. It is so well written. They take opportunities. If you're a fan of Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds, you have to watch the crossover episode that they did between where the cartoon characters come into the real world and end up on Strange New Worlds. It is just incredible. It is amazing.
Did they Roger Rabbit it?
The two people that do the voices for them show up, and as their actual people, they come through a portal and they show up as actual people. And it's like, it is just, and they did a musical episode. It was, like I said, it is one of the most creative series that's going right now.
Fantastic.
I did enjoy Lower Decks. I did watch a little bit of Lower Decks, and I thought that was hilarious. Like Joseph said,
Lower Decks is done by one of the guys who helped create Rick and Morty, so it's that kind of humor type of a thing. So,
well, it's like the Lower Decks of the worst Starfleet in the fleet, right?
Correct. It's all the grunts. It's all the grunts that do all the menial jobs.
Nice. Clocking in at number 3 for me, this is one that I had the absolute privilege of not just watching the season that released this year, but catching up on season 1 and 2 and diving into this series from the beginning, binging it all. And a big shout out to Apple TV, because they produce one of the best well-rounded shows I've ever seen in my life with Ted Lasso. I was able to watch season 1, 2, and 3. It is one of the most perfectly balanced shows with a little bit of humor, drama, it is just so good. It just leaves you with this weird feeling of not knowing how you're supposed to feel, because it actually affects you emotionally on so many different levels. You fall in love with the characters. You actually care about the characters, and they never cease to surprise you with every turn along the way. I still hum the little chants that the crowds would hum when Roy Hess comes out, or Jamie Tart. It's so good. And there was this phrase in the 3rd season when they were looking at selling their soccer teams to this international investor, when all of the owners of the teams are sitting around a table, and the woman who owns the main team that we follow, she looks at what they're doing, and she she stops them and she reminds them that as the owners of these teams, you own them, but they don't belong to you. And that just hit me in such a way with how we look at this hobby and these properties we get and stuff, like how we say all the time, these people that work on these things and own them, and we get accused of being like privileged when we talk about how we expect better of these things. But it just like that, I don't believe that at all. Like the whole concept of we are just stewards of these things. Like they may own these teams, but they bought them and they'll sell them and they'll still exist after their time, kind of thing. It just stuff like that just absolutely moves you along the way while you're watching the show. It's just so damn good, so damn good.
Can I say something that'll get something stuck in everybody's head? Jamie Tart. Jamie.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm one of the few Brits that couldn't care less about football. Ted Lasso is a masterpiece. Yeah, dude. You got to play through me, not to me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's insane. It is insane. Yeah, and the way that they end it with Jamie and Roy just sitting there beat up like idiots. Like, just two bros just after the same thing and they both lose it. It's just hilarious. Fall of the House of Usher was a good one for Pops. I've heard a lot of good things about that too. But yeah, Ted Lasso, hands down, number 3 on my list. TM, what do you got at number 2?
I got Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal was a fantastic series. Like, that surprised me because, like, when I was going into watching that, I was like, there's no way. There's no way that they're going to make a TV show about cars blowing up other cars to get a wish. There's no way. And it pleasantly surprised me. Now, it did take
Did they
out,
do that?
like, they do that. There is vehicles that have so many different guns on them, different abilities and that, some specials from the game. There's so many Easter eggs from the game, but I absolutely loved playing Twisted Metal 2 when I think it was like 95 when I was playing Twisted Metal 2, and I absolutely loved that game. But the performance that Anthony Mackie brings you in this series, he's so charismatic and he makes you laugh, but he also, like, you feel for the guy. You do definitely feel for the guy, and it's good to see Stephanie Beatrice in another series. She was over on Brooklyn Nine-Nine as Detective DS.
Mm-hmm.
So I absolutely love seeing her in that series. It was a super fun game. I loved playing it, and I absolutely couldn't believe the story arc that they gave in this show, because like I said, I didn't think they would go anywhere with this show, but it was so believable and the way they did it. Also, Samoa Joe and Will Arnett as Sweet Tooth, Needles Kane, was perfect. The performance and the voice. It was just so... I urge everybody to go check it out, whether you're a fan of the game or not.
Paul, what do you got clocking in at number 2?
I have Kyle's number 1. I have Superman and Lois at number 2. From the very first episode where we find out that Lois has cancer to the very last scene where we see Superman and Bizarro coming at each other, and everything in between, it was poignant at times. It was action packed. It really, I mean, it does as much for the Superman mythos as it does for Superman, you know, as a father and as a husband and all that stuff in between. And so I really enjoyed Superman and Lois.
For number 2 for me, no surprise to anybody that this has made my list. This is Apple TV's Monarch Legacy of the Monsters. Even though we still have 2 episodes to go, this series has hit on every level. It's tying into the movies in a beautiful way, adding so much to them. This is the first extension that we've seen like this outside of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done with their shows. And I think that this one show is doing it better than we've seen them do it with Marvel, with like committing to leaning into the importance of the show to the movies and everything, as well as it just touches on stuff that's just like crack for me. Hollow Earth, hidden ancient cities, giant monsters, like the intrigue of Monarch organization itself, the way that it's doing the dual plot storytelling is fantastic. Having Wyatt and Kurt Russell playing the same character, the people story in it is amazing. It's just good. It's just so damn good. Cannot wait for what's coming next. We won't be talking about this week's episode tonight on this show as it's the at Year's End special, but next week we'll have not just one, but probably two absolute bangers of an episode to talk. This last one was massive, massive. So be here next week as we'll be right back in the Legacy of Monster Talk. You're muted.
And the two stories that they're telling, the symmetrical stories from the 50s and from 2015, like you said, Wyatt and Kurt Russell playing the same character, but it's interesting to show how the things that have occurred in the 1950s are impacting in 2015. So the multiple stories that they're telling in different times is also really interesting, I think.
Yeah. TM Nerdy, how many number ones did you come up with for this one?
12.
Let's go.
No, I'm just kidding. I could name off a ton of shows so I enjoyed this year. I loved a lot of shows this year, but I'm gonna have to go with One Piece. One Piece, I like anime, but at the time of these shows coming out, you had Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, and I was cool, so I watched Bleach instead of watching One Piece. I couldn't get into the anime, but this show was absolutely fantastic. What they did with this show, I feel like they leaned more into the anime feel than most anime adaptations where they're just okay, we need to make this more realistic and less anime. One Piece leaned into the anime type of feel and brought it to live action. I absolutely love this. The lead guy, I can't pronounce his name right now, but he was absolutely charismatic. He drew you in. When I watched the trailers, I wasn't sure about this character, but until you start watching it and seeing how he is, and that you just fall in love with his performance of this character and the rest of the cast. You're in absolute tears by the end of the season. There was a scene where they do these scenes where it's just it cuts and it shows one person's face, the other person's face, and that they did that a couple of times, but it was I think it was the last episode where they did that, and I couldn't help myself but cry. It was filmed perfectly, and the cinematography was just so on par, as well as the music. The music always got you in a good mood whenever you were watching the opening scenes and that. So absolutely loved One Piece. One Piece, probably one of my favorite shows of the year. I've probably watched it at least 4 times already.
All right, Paul, having already mentioned Star Trek and Superman, what could possibly be left for your number one spot?
Aggressively Relaxing is going to love me again. I'm going to go with Star Trek Picard Season 3.
Okay, let's go.
I forgot there's so many Star Trek
did
shows.
If you are a fan of Star Trek, and especially if you're a fan of Star Trek: The Next Generation, it is quite literally, I think, the perfect season. There were multiple times throughout every single episode that I'm going yes, yes. It did the fan service, but again, not. I think the fact that they expanded it to include basically almost the entire cast from Star Trek: The Next Generation. And the story was done so well. And the other thing too is it actually set up, if Paramount wants to do that, it set up a future while bringing the Next Generation to an end. There were reasons for all of these different. It wasn't just, oh look, there's Geordi now. They just happened to run into him in a bathroom or something. It was there was a reason why he joined the story, and each one was giving something really important to do as well. It wasn't just, oh look, there's Geordi standing in the background. So it was like the chef's kiss of Star Trek, the perfect ending, the perfect swan song for the Next Generation, if that's what they decide to do, while setting up the future stuff if that's what Paramount decides they want to do. Don't watch the first 2 seasons of Picard, they were trash, but the 3rd season is pretty much perfection.
Day and night, huh? Day and night.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Did you keep making hypotheses of what was going to happen only to be completely wrong in the next episode?
Yeah, they were. I mean, which is good. you shouldn't be able to tell what's going to happen. So
Yeah, they should be able to write more complex stories than I can think. I'm not a writer.
right, exactly.
So for me, number one is this wasn't even a competition. There was nothing that came close to my viewing experience of this, to my expectations being met and just blown past. And that is none other than Superman and Lois season 3 was just, I'm a Superman stan. I'll give you that. But when it comes to just writing something like, again, kind of like how -1 transcended the genre, this just transcended like the superhero genre with the story that they were telling, with what they were dealing with Lois and the parallels of what was going on with Mannheim and his family, to the massive, massive shift and twist that we got in the final 3 episodes with the release of Lex Luthor from prison and the introduction and callback and tie-in finale that they did to the previous seasons, and the way that they left us on red on the moon of all places. Like, I cannot wait for the next episode. I don't care how season 4 plays out. Give me season 4 episode 1 and I will die a happy man. It was so good. Like, just so good. I cannot stress it enough. This was on the CW. This is not Arrowverse. It is a standalone Superman show that will absolutely change your life. Watch these 3 seasons. Much like how the Mission Impossible franchise never misses a step as it climbs up the ladder of quality, this show has done the exact same thing. So good. So good. Moving all right along, TM, where are we going next?
I don't know if there's anywhere else. I do have
Really?
one thing, comedy special, and I don't have a top 3, but I have a top 1, my all-time favorite one, and I just recently watched it and I laughed. Like, if you want a great comedy special, if you guys are into comedy specials, you want to watch a great one that'll have you rolling. I don't know what this guy does to me, but his jokes are just so freaking hilarious. And that's Bert Kreisler's Razzle Dazzle. Fantastic comedy set. Another honorable mention for that would be Chris Rock's one, but it wasn't as good as Bert Kreisler's.
I'll throw this out there too, and it just released like within the last 24 hours. Dave Chappelle, The Dreamer, just dropped on Netflix. Dave Chappelle was, and will always be the GOAT for me, just due to my age growing up through my like formative years with the Chappelle Show. Like, that was something that we literally had our teachers watching just so that they could have conversations with us in 10th grade biology class, because we couldn't quit laughing about him the next day. And just like next level performer right there. And the one that Paul told me to watch. I can't never remember, but oh my God. What's that dude's name? It's free to watch on YouTube even.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and, I have to go back and figure out what his name was, so I have to do that too.
No, they got greenlit for season 4 a long time ago. It's going to be a reduced season. They announced all this months ago, but season 4 is greenlit. It's reduced down to just 10 episodes. Half the cast isn't coming back, and a lot of the budget is reduced as well. They're being nice to the production team and allowing them to get a finale to their show. Thank God they are.
Because that would have been a terrible way to end it.
Yeah, the worst way to end it. Yeah, it was wild. All right, so a couple other categories that I have left is some top news announcements that we got in 2023. We also have, we can touch on at the very end, some things we're looking forward to in 2024, but also think about it, team, your top 3 pickups for 2023, any form or fashion.
Like it got to, like, just
things that you added to your collection.
Like the first appearance of Animal Man. Something like that.
I had that in my head right at the moment. But
I didn't go pull slabs or anything for that. I'm just going to say them, but yeah. I got my top 3 collectibles, like toys that I picked up, kind of thing separately from that as well. But you want to do top 3 like collectibles, because for those that know, especially if you follow my YouTube shorts, I collect toys. I'm a big kid, so there was some good stuff for that. So I would have to say, TM, I'll go ahead and go for number 3 for that. I was introduced to a brand new toy maker called Play Arts Kai. It's a foreign toy maker that they do highly articulated, detailed action figures, and you assemble them yourself And I typically have this behind me. My videos, I have the Optimus Prime up there, but the number one for me was this Optimus Primal from Transformers: Rise of the Beast that I was able to assemble with Finn and Monkey. We did it in a series of shorts. You can find them on my channel. But the level of detail, articulation, and these things are just amazing. I absolutely love Optimus Primal as a character, and this was just being able to ride the wave of the movie and get some figures to go with it, and just keep it going. Yeah, Scott, Mark has toys. Yeah, Pops said his first edition King Kong that he picked up this year. Yeah, that was a good one, Pops.
Mhm.
Hear the
Um,
popping.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. What's one you got on your list? Let me go close the back door to you.
Well, the three I had was this was Alan Scott, the McFarlane toy. I actually don't have the other one with me, but I also managed to get I won the lottery to get the platinum edition Alan Scott figure as well. My second one was my Superman statue from McFarlane Toys. So that was as well. And then my third one is my Sandman helmet that I got. Um, those were my three big pickups in the toy world. I got some other pickups like from comics and things like that that we can talk about a little bit later. But yeah, those are my three toys that I picked up this year. So
Yeah, there it is. YOLO Park. That's the name of the ones that did the Transformers one. YOLO Park in collaboration with Hasbro.
mhm.
Why is it still in the box? All right, well, we're gonna do that way. My number two, I'll do my number 2 and 3, and if TM's got any that he wants to hit on, you can hit on next. But number two was something that I actually owned previously, but I reacquired one, sealed in the box. I have it back here in all my videos. It was like one of my earliest McFarlane pickups back when I was a kid from the movie Maniacs line. But I got a sealed in box original King Kong movie Maniac. Absolutely love this figure. Like I said, I
Nice.
had it, but I wanted a sealed in box, and the pure joy this gave me when I saw this. And I picked it up at a show, a Barnyard Comic-Con flea market show kind of thing that they did when I was able to meet Brian LCS. Now that he's a Southern gentleman, we met at that show and hung out for a little bit and everything. And then my number one, going back to Play Arts Kai, was the introduction of Play Art Kai. So I'm a big RoboCop fan. When I say that, I don't mean just the original three. I like the remake with Joel Kinnaman so much that I got the version 1.0 suit, but this suit 3.0 right here,
Wow.
like this dude, this right here was just something absolutely wicked special. They come with so many accessories and stuff where you can have like the legs assembled with it open and the gun hanging on it and stuff, but this right here is just next level, like super duper cool. What's funny is these Play Art Kai figures are kind of like anime style based figures, but because he has a mask on and he's like semi robot, the RoboCop ones just look like straight up movie versions of the figures. So I managed to get both of those, and there is one with the OG Alex Murphy out there that I will acquire probably in 2024.
Nice.
TM, do you got any figure pickups, collectible pickups you want to show off? Fantastic.
I do.
There he is.
All right, so I did grab like one toy. One toy I'm getting, but it's not out until January 15th, so I won't have it in time to show off right now. The gold label Animal Man, but I do have this. This was sent to me by JD Raging Cajun Comics. This is a card from Kevin Smith's line, and it's signed by Kevin Smith.
Oh, dope.
What's cool? What's cool about this is Kevin Smith goes live on YouTube now and then for Fat Man Beyond, and it's filmed. Sometimes they're filming at wherever they are. They're doing virtual like we are, but sometimes they're filming at the Cantina in Los Angeles, and JD was there. So here I am watching the show, and then like they pan over to the guests or like the people that are in there, and like JD, I could see him waving at me.
That's
and
really
so
cool.
I actually watched Kevin Smith sign this. So thank you, JD, for that. Keeping on with the Animal Man, I did get this. I forget who it was signed by. Just a sec. Pretty sure. And trying to remember who this was signed by, but it's signed by one of the creators of Animal Man. I'm not sure if it was the artist or but this was sent to me by Cali Comics along with a certain comic that he sent me. But as you can see, it's signed down there.
Dude, that's really cool.
I didn't notice that at first, but it's
The
retro.
back card has the name of the artist that did the card on it. It's on the side of it, on like the side border vertically. You'd have to turn the card sideways to read it. Art by.
Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's signed by Tom Mandrake.
There you go.
So, I absolutely love that.
I know a little something about those DC Cosmic cards thanks to 2023.
And then I do have a statue here. My only statue, was sent to me by Nick the Comic Nerd. It was something I won, but
Holy
wow.
crap.
Batman Who Laughs.
That's wicked.
Nice.
Those Diamond Gallery statues are phenomenal. I got a nice little stash of those last year.
I haven't opened it yet. I think I'm eventually going to open it up and display it because it's too bulky being in this. It takes up more space being in this than anything, and I don't think I'm ever going to sell it. So I really enjoy it. It looks so much better. Like it's hard to show you guys, but it looks so much better without the glare.
Yeah, he really. Tom Mandrake and John Ostrander did the Spectre, and then they also did Martian Manhunter as well.
That's the Oreo era, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what are top 3 comic pickups from the year? I didn't pull these, by the way. I'm just going to go through my 1, 2, 3. All right, well, let me pull TM back up real quick. Boom.
Yeah. Love this. This was sent to me by Old Wolf.
First appearance, Tim Drake
first
as Robin.
appearance as Robin, yeah, in the Robin suit.
Very cool.
Amazing cover. Are we just showing one off?
Go ahead and do all 3.
All right. My next pickup, I had to look. I wasn't sure if I picked this up in 2023, but I did. And this is the first appearance of Stargirl.
Yeah,
this is up early last January.
Brings back rough memories for me and Paul, where you stumped us on an episode of Yes That Key.
Yeah,
you stumped us with Stargirl somehow, which blows my mind.
Right? And I'm eventually going to bring this to Guess That Key and stump you guys again. But I got the first appearance of Animal Man sent to me by Cali Comics.
And that's the first Buddy Baker, right? Kind of like the same thing with Hank Pym. You get a first appearance of Hank Pym, then a first appearance of Ant-Man. So you get like double keys to chase with that character.
Yeah, it's 180, which is it's considered a major key, and it states it's the first appearance of Animal Man, but it's the first appearance of Buddy Baker, and first appearance of Animal Man doesn't come until 10 issues later with 190.
When he gets a suit. That's really cool, dude. Massive congratulations. Banger stuff right there. All right, Paul.
Okay, so my 3 best pickups. One of them is kind of combined, but I finished my getting my Crisis on Infinite Earths and 9.8s.
Yeah, that's an impressive collection right there.
So I got that. Second one was World's Best Comics #1. It's restored, but that's okay. And then the third one was Adventure Comics 247. And I think you flipped me off on Guess That Key.
I'm pretty sure I did. Jesus, it just gets offensive. Come on there to slam dunk on us. Pops would laugh Comics 130, and he finished out a collecting run with that pickup as well. Sergeant Stripes was funny and was almost exactly what the TV series was based on. Yeah, the series was amazing. Yeah, she has one of those weird rollouts as well. All right. So that's a solid 3 for you. And for me, I didn't pull them. So the first one I have isn't even a comic. I got my first page from a comic, and it was from I got it. It's Transformers Destiny issue 2, page 4 that I picked up from Comicx Curing Cancer, which was super cool. So I have my first original page from a comic is a Transformers comic, and it's a Michael Bay movie tie-in at that. So it just adds more to my specific breed of Transformers love. But I also picked up Transformers issue 1 in a CGC 8.0 that's behind me in my videos, which kick-started chasing down that run this year, which was a blast. But the biggest pickup, I think maybe it was financially as well, was Hulk number 5, which I picked up at Heroes Con every year for the past few years. I've been picking up one of the 6 issues of the original Hulk books. So I managed to get issue number 5 this year, and that was my 3.
You should do a video on maybe trying to get some more next year.
That's not a bad idea. I might try to do that too. Good idea, Paul. Stay tuned. That video could or could not happen. Who knows? I'll tell you who knows. Channel members know. All right. Looking ahead. Well, not even.
I just want to say something to Scott. I also have that too.
Can't stop, won't stop. TM got them all. So we did have a massive year for news announcements and everything, good, bad, and indifferent. But moving over to like our 3 biggest news announcements or stuff of the year. Paul, what do you have at number 3 on your list?
I don't know. This might have been the end of 2022, but I'm gonna actually. It was the new golden age, but I think they was announced in 2022, but it was the 3 series that they announced coming out of the new golden age. That to me was the number 3 in my news for 2023.
So number 3 on my list is actually going to be movie related, and that is all of the casting announcements that came from James Gunn in regard to Superman Legacy. It started with me being very, very excited, and it kept announcing more characters and more actors to the point of me being concerned. And then they announced more characters and more actors to the point of me not caring anymore, which I think is a big deal. The fact that there's a whole new DC film universe coming, and it's kicking off with one of my all-time favorite heroes, with a director I really enjoy, and he's managed to make me excited, worried, and not care. That's kind of big news for me. Like, I don't know if it's just beat down by how much has been announced about it, but that's just where I'm at right now. TM, what's a big news announcement for you from this year?
I was going to steal that one.
Steal it.
Trying to, I'm the opposite way. Like I get why you have you're worried a little bit because there is a lot of casting news, but each cast member that was mentioned or being like, oh, I got this person here, we're going to cast this person as Hawkgirl, this person as Metamorpho, I was overjoyed. So I was the opposite of you because I know that I still have faith. I still have faith in James Gunn. He hasn't let us down yet. And I don't think he's going to do that with it possibly being like, okay, you need to get this movie done right, or there's nothing at all. Like, I know he has more ideas for the future. So I absolutely love the casting news about everything Superman Legacy. Even him casting his brother. I don't think that's that.
The nepotism thing doesn't bother me at all. Like, I would be more offended if he didn't cast his friends and family. Like, it makes no sense. All directors work with a certain group of people. James Gunn's not new to that. People just complain about him doing it. Keep in mind, Cillian Murphy starred in Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm. And every other Christopher Nolan movie. Number 2 is a 2-part, actually, so I'm doing a Travis thing. It was Transformers and G.I. Joe going to Skybound, but also the combination of them in the cinema universe, where was my number 2 bit of news.
Number 2 for me is going to be the confirmation of what we've been telling people was coming for the past 2 years, and that is the rise of Amanda Waller as an epic player in ongoing stories for the foreseeable future. And the biggest specific piece of news attached to that would be the confirmation and announcement of the new Suicide Squad comic book starting toward the first half of 2024. We've been squadless for a little while, we haven't been completely squadless, that she's just been doing things behind the scenes between the panels, and definitely not in their own comic book, but it's all come to a head, and Suicide Squad will be getting a new run in 2024 that I'm very excited for.
Absolutely.
TM,
Dream
you got
Team.
another one? Yes, yeah, the Dream Team.
I do not have another one.
All right, Paul, what you got at number 1?
It's got to be all about the Ghost Machine.
Yes, sir. Like that, I think that's definitely both of our number 1.
There you go. The fact that Jeff Johns is putting together a team of people that I think may even be more impressive than Image was at the time, but certainly more people than Image started with. They started with the 6 or whatever, but yeah, he's taken basically everyone that he's worked with and known and enjoyed collaborating with, and they're going to be creating their own universe and sub universes.
Yeah, from the Unnamed to Rook Exodus to Family
Mhm.
Odysseys in the horror universe, I'm excited for every bit of this. The announcements don't stop. We just got Ivan Reese announced and attached to it. We just had Geiger Ground 0, 1, and 2 little mini series as a kind of a place setter and a reminder and a refresher, with a massive tease at the end of that, with a potential first appearance, who I believe was the first Ghost that was added to the roster at the end when we see all the Unnamed together for that brief second. And dude, I cannot wait for the Ghost Machine one shot to drop, and I cannot wait for Redcoat to hit right after that. All of these creators that I've been following through their work with the characters I'm passionate about at DC Comics are now just completely let loose, off the chain, just to do what they do best with no restrictions. I think that this is going to be amazing. This is going to be everything that we like. All the like criticisms people can potentially have about comic books, like the valid ones, not just the hate mongers, but the valid criticisms. This is the opportunity to have something that's not restrained by any of those. You have just these pure top tier creators with no rules, no editorial stuff holding them back. You don't have 80 years of continuity. They're starting from ground zero and building their own. This is about to be amazing. Like, you have dream teams over there. Jeff Johns, Gary Frank is over there. Francis Manifold is over there. Jason Fabak is over there. Ivan Reese is there now. You got the Super Sons guy, Peter Tomasi over there.
Peter Tomasi, yeah.
It's just absolutely insane, the level of talent that is getting to give you pure ideas from their own head. Like, this is going to be great. I do too. Like, the whole concept behind that. You have this guy assassinates George Washington and is cursed with immortality. Let's go. He's going to be your magic-based character. Like, Mr. Can't Get Right. What if he was immortal and he never could get right? Like, that's just going to be great. Yeah, and his two-headed pup. Yes, sir. All right. 2024. Less than 2 hours away. What are you guys looking forward to in 2024?
For me, what we just talked about. the full on, the Ghost Machine running at its full potential is what I'm looking forward to.
TM?
Like 3 comics. I got 3 comics ready.
3 anything.
John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America, Suicide Squad, Dream Team, and
The Rapture.
and this one, I think it's just a one shot. But DC's How to Lose a Guy Gardner in 10 Days.
That'll probably be pretty funny. I'll switch it over and I'll do 3 movies and TM hits you with some comics. I'm looking forward to Matt Vaughn's Argyle film with Henry Cavill as well as John Cena. That looks like it's going to be amazing. Matthew Vaughn is just one of those directors. You don't miss their stuff, from X-Men First Class to the Kingsman franchise to what he did with Kick-Ass. It's just great action cinema. I'm very, very much looking forward to Dune Part 2. Wow. My number 1 most anticipated film of 2024. Shocker. Godzilla x Kong New Empire, coming out next April, expanding on the MonsterVerse with the next addition into the filmography.
My most anticipated film is the 3-part Crisis on Infinite Earths that's coming out next year. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Killing the Tomorrowverse is what I'm looking forward to. While I enjoy them, it's
some,
just it ain't it. It ain't it.
some of it was good, but like an overarching universe, it doesn't work. They would work good as separate films, but like not connected.
Yeah, they just I don't know. It just they just missed. They swung and they missed. I enjoy them, but like you got to do better than what you did before. You can't step down moving forward. You got to step up moving forward. And this didn't feel like a step up. It just felt like I don't know. I feel like a swimming upstream or what is it? I'm with in a up Shit's Creek without a paddle is what it feels like. Like we need a paddle. We don't have a paddle. They also announced the animated Watchmen feature film.
Yes,
I believe that's supposed to come out this coming year too. I'd be more. You know.
I'm excited for Crisis, but I'm also excited for Deadpool 3.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Yeah, yeah. Deadpool kills the Fox universe. It's going to be wild. 2024 has some fun stuff lined up. It looks like we're going to take a big change of speed from 2023. We just came from a year where they were trying to get out all these projects they've been sitting on for the past 2 years. And now we're about to hit a year, the polar opposite, where we just go through like 6 months. How long did we strike for? Like the writer and the actor
good
strike?
4 months anyway. But a lot of movies won't even strike till next year or so.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff pushing off. I think it's going to be fun. Like we didn't really touch on it. There wasn't much of a reason to, but I'll definitely be doing my company tracking, watching Disney. This is going to be a very interesting year for Disney, especially going from like a very rough year to kind of an off year where they don't have a lot of stuff coming in comparison to what they've been doing, and to see how they restructure and what it might look like moving forward. I'm excited to see the potential of like how we talked about Ahsoka. I would like to get that same feeling back for the MCU stuff. It's definitely not there, but I would like to get that excitement back. And I'm also excited to see what happens with the Star Wars universe, as there's 2 live action shows that are set to release in 2024 that seem very removed from a lot of the content with the sequels and stuff. It seems like kind of standalone stuff from the sounds of it. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm not holding my breath. But there's going to be an interesting year. Creature Commandos will drop this coming year. Massively excited for that. And yeah, let's just see where it goes.
Dead Boy Detectives on Netflix.
That show that TM will keep us all up to date with.
Mm-hmm. I'm still waiting. I don't know how far we are out. Like if we're gonna get, I hope to God we get it, but in 2024. But Sandman 2 and then Wednesday season 2 as well.
Pops is highly anticipating a beard for TM Nerdy in 2024.
I'll try. I'll try to grow one.
See what he can do, Pops. See what he can do. Well, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. I appreciate everybody coming through and letting us know and participating in the chat. Paul, TM, thank you so much. I appreciate both of you guys hanging out with me here on Sunday night. You can't do it without you guys. Like, I appreciate it. It's definitely been a blast. It's definitely been one of my highlights of 2023, getting to kick it with you guys and spoil each week as we went along. I can't wait to do it in 2024. Who knows what's going to happen? But we'll be here to spoil it when it does. Hope everyone has a great night. A happy New Year. Hug your friends, hug your families, and enjoy it. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.